So, I've been dealing with ducks all morning. Clipped some wings in Muscovy so they'll quit flying away. And had to move some other duckies. We had to mend a fence. Busy little morning. We were supposed to be gone doing fun festivities. I still got to deal with the barrel roots and a few other things, but it's been going.
Yeah. So I may have already said this, but this is where we want to put the bare root trees. I don't know. Plant the mulberry dead center. Of course I got to move all this junk. Plant the mulberry dead center and the elderberries out to the side. I'm going to use a tape measure and see if everything's going to fit, because the elderberries grow 10 feet around, so therefore we need like 5 foot from each one to the mulberry. And I don't feel like doing maps right now, so we're just going to measure it and see what happens. Nikki and Larry Eugene's looking for a 14-foot board. Got our miscellaneous piles of rough cut. I got my hole dug, and Larry Eugene's got a random piece of black lotus over by his camper. So that's what we're going to use for the corner post. I'm going to get that now, and the chainsaw. So this piece of black lotus, just a random piece that, well, a bunch of trees got knocked over when the place was being cleared, and it's fairly daggone dense. And then, like I said, 2 years ago, I've been sitting outside in the weather, and still as good as the day it came out, or was knocked over. So that goes in there. Doesn't have to be very deep. And run a board from there to there. Goes down that way, cuts back over somewhere over yonder, and we'll be good to go. Nikki and Larry Eugene's moving some wine bottles that were donated to us. We're not sure what we're going to use them for yet, but like, heck yeah, don't throw them away. I'm about to cut a board, probably about 4 feet. I'm going to come off of this post, which is an old bed. It's fall, it doesn't look that great. I promise there's a lot of stuff in there. And then it's going to run over to that post. But I got to get the porta cable tools, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we got that tacked up with just a couple of screws. Looking pretty good so far. I mean, aesthetically, you know, this overlapping like that, it's not that great, but who cares? Function here, right, babe?
Function.
So, while Nikki's functioning on screwing the rest of these screws in for me, I'm going to go down and sort out that side and see how I want it to go. Or maybe she'll sort it out. We'll see. Larry Eugene and Nikki lay down the non-shiny bits of sales paper. Just got that fully screwed in. We're going to take the chainsaw and chop this off either today or some other point. Not very well. Actually, I'm gonna do it today because I'm gonna use the rest of this piece for some further down here. What I'm leaning towards is probably putting a post here and maybe another one there. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to cheat so I don't have to keep digging holes in this stupid red clay. But yeah, 2 holes dug. They don't have to be very deep. It's just kind of keeping the bed from sliding one way or another. It's not like it shouldn't have enough weight pushing on it to pull it out, especially with this one. We're not going really deep mulch like we normally do, just kind of a shallow mulch. So time to fire up the chainsaw, I reckon.
Posts out of 1.
Alright, so this is where we're at so far. Just got this side tacked up, and I was like, man, I didn't get enough meat on it so it could support it. Ooh, look, if I turn this around, I got an extra branch. And right, babe?
That was a good idea.
She's so grumpy, she wants breakfast, brunch. We got it tacked off on that side. These beds here were were the first ones that we built and planted. Not this section, we added it later, but that bed over there and a bed over yonder. So now this is all buttoned up, and before it blows away, me and Larry Eugene's probably going to get a light load of mulch. We got to dump some rocks first. And here's a neat little added bonus. Anybody want to guess what this dead plant is? You're not supposed to answer for the class. Just kidding. Mimosa. Well, like false mimosa, whatever you call it. Either way, it's still a nitrogen fixer. So we're going to leave it here for chop and drop. I've got another one over here that is growing by my loquat, and I just cut it about twice a season or something. So a little bit more color than we usually use when we're building beds, but when times are tough. So the middle of a driveway is kind of an odd place to find fertility. But this is going to be our base layer, and what it is we had some mulch that we got from the power company, which we about depleted. I had tons of it, and if you go to my page on Permies, you can find, you know, pictures of it steaming in the morning time. But this was moved at least once or twice, and the idea, it was, you know, pretty tall, and we're going to use it to mulch around Nikki's little serenity garden that she's going to make one day. But it just sat here, and now it's rotted. If you don't believe me, look at this amazing color here. Look at that crumbly goodness, just straight broken down organic material. So yeah, I'm gonna get a wheelbarrow load, put that down first on the wheelbarrow, and then I reckon I'm gonna go cook some lunch, because if I don't feed Nikki soon, she'll probably kill me. So be salmon and some lettuce and some green beans or something like that. First layer kind of down, and we're gonna switch away from this really awesomeness, because I just don't have a lot of it and it's heavy, and switch to my regular mulch. Once I get a layer of that down, then we've got some oyster shells over there to add some extra oxygen. I must be tired, Larry Eugene. Calcium, and also I've got some of the, what is it called, the fancy sand micronutrient azomite. That's what it's called. I forgot. Ordered that off of Amazon a while, and I treated all my plants in the yard pretty much off this bag. This is what's got left, and apparently you can add this to animal feed too as a micronutrient supplement. But anyways, I'm gonna add some of that, some of this. I don't have any actual organic fertilizer, but I'll get some and fertilize the plants I'm planting before spring anyways. So. Here's a pile of mulch, and there used to be this whole front row along the road was piled up with mulch, and this is the last we got of it. The neighbor's chickens have been kind of taking the pile and breaking it down and pooping in it and stuff like that, so it should be fairly broken down, fairly fertile, fairly good stuff. Another load of mulch. Already got some azomite and oyster shells down on this layer. I'm gonna grab some chicken manure to throw down before we put that in there. Sound good? Good. Fresh, dry, dusty poop all down there, looking like awesome fertility. Nikki keeps bothering me about other things, but about to put this load of mulch. Hopefully this one and maybe one more be good to go. We'll be digging holes and watering things and planting our 3 fancy trees. Now you're like, this is a lot of work to just plant a tree, right? It is, but more than likely we'll do like we did last year, put some echinacea and some annuals in the spring. I want to grow some more acorn squash. So, but anyways, that's what plus once these trees get growing, we usually do our composting here. We just used most of it. There's another compost bin, plus all the duck water and everything else kind of flows down this way, so it should be a pretty fertile bed. All right,
That's exciting.
the idea is the mulberry is going to grow over and drop his little berries in there, and our side will be on this side, and so it should work out good. We'll see. So I don't have any weeds to kill below, and I want these trees to not settle with the mulch quite as much, so we're not deep mulching this time, but one more wheelbarrow load should do the trick. So just got another wheelbarrow load of mulch, about to put that down. Larry Eugene just quit spraying, but he was spraying this mulch down just kind of help it settle. Nikki's over there doing something with technology. So I'm gonna dump this load. I don't remember this being this taxing in the past. I guess I'm out of shape. Anyways, so the ideal situation with this bed is that we would just leave it. We'll just leave it. Maybe throw some scratch feed out or something like that, and let the chickens scratch through it and let it settle. That'd be the ideal situation, right, babe?
Yes.
Let it settle, let it break down, let that beautiful nitrogen carbon combination do its thing. That's probably not what's gonna happen today, is it, babe?
Probably not.
I'm gonna wrap up this video. I'm gonna throw out this mulch right here, and then I gotta cook lunch because Nikki's grumpy or something, I don't know. Just being the perfect housewife again. But after I lay that mulch down, like I said, we're gonna wrap this up. We'll do a separate video on how to plant bare root trees, or at least the way I do it. And when you guys see me do it, you're gonna be like, what a dummy, why'd you do that work initially? And I don't do all of them like this, but when I'm doing a bed like this, I do the bare roots, as well as the potted trees and stuff like that, the same way. So that may or may not be today. If it's not today, you'll see a separate video on how to store your bare root trees, you know, until you get ready to plant them. So I either pot them up or do the trench method. So we may be doing a video on the trench method. Larry Eugene.
Oh yeah?
Because I really feel like I want to let this sit, but also I need to make sure the expensive plants don't die. So like, subscribe, etc. And I'm going to dump this last load and call it a right now.
What's the S word?
subscribe. Only S word Larry Eugene. Till next time. I thought I was recording, but I guess I wasn't. This is the first load of mulch they brought me, and originally they weren't going to bring me any because their blade was messed up. And you could tell it was nice and dull on this load because most of this is all just sticks. But I already said all this one time. I just don't think it recorded. And right, Larry Eugene. Yep. So we're going to saturate it, let it sit, see how everything settles out, and maybe do some planting here in just a bit. Maybe not. So one thing I forgot to mention also was that in a bed like this, you can take, if it was a little bit slightly finer materials, or if you bought some compost or something like that, or had compost to put directly around the plants, you can use something like this for annual. It is good to build it this time of year, like winter, and let it sit and then be ready for your spring planting. But I have also built these and planted directly into it and had some success, sometimes not, depends, but usually it works out pretty well. Not that I should be recording video because I'm fresh out of memory, but this is one little grazing cell that we set up for kind of ducks, chickens, or whatever. And really it was an experiment to see how far one roll of fence wire would go. There's our fancy little gate we made. Ain't like that. Rabbit wire on the bottom and then just deer netting at the top. Rough cut lumber. The plan is to take and run a fence back behind the pool fence there, all the way down, and come out about 16 feet or so from there and have it set up for grazing cells all along the back side of the property to help maintain the property and keep it clean. Oh, he looks so miserable. My hands are dirty too. Nikki's been cleaning up from that. So there's the house, and eventually at some point this will all be, you know, kind of our zone 1 area. But right now, way over there's our zone 1. And so, which will become our zone 3 at some point. But anyways, all this rambling profusely. Right over here, I think is gonna be the future area for like an animal house. So we can have it nice and close to our house, so we'll be able to hear invaders. There's a chimney there, so if we build a fire to get warm, you know, hanging out, it's actually an outside patio, but build a fire, it'll warm the animal enclosure. I don't know, something like that. Plus I plan on putting a parking structure over there, so that way we'll walk past the critters every day. And greenhouse is gonna go where this shady looking stuff is now. So that's kind of the plan, and back there's a pool. And we kind of want to do the Jeff Lawton urban permaculture thing and put fish and stuff in there. Ain't that right, babe?
Yes, and duckweed.
And duckweed and other fancy aquatic species to float and filter and clean and all that jazz. Slow coming, you know, maybe 20 years before it's all done. Who knows? But we'll own it in another couple years, so good to go.